It is your coach, Carla Nicole. I hope everyone is doing amazing this evening. It is definitely an evening, no less, right? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. So come on in and relax. We are going to have a conversation this evening about the daunting phase. Shall we? Um, Please make sure to subscribe to the channel. This is the Carla Nicole channel, so be sure to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to press the notification bell so you know when I go live. I see how you guys like it when I go live, and I am grateful and appreciative. So make sure that you hit the notification button. It's vitally important that you do that. Okay? Come on in, get comfortable, relax. We're not going to be on here forever, but we're going to be on here for a little bit. I want to talk about some things. So share with me that you can hear me okay. Let me know you can see me. Everything is fine as far as the studio is concerned. Sometimes I have some technical difficulties. I don't like to admit, but yes, sometimes that happens. It's life, baby. It's life, right? We just have our technical difficulties, do we not? So just come on in. I'm so glad you're here. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Say hello. Let me know who you are. Tell me who you are, where you're from. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you know when I go live. Don't forget. Come on in. So welcome. I'm your coach, Carla Nicole. And I'd like to just share with you something that I've been working so hard on recently. Just been tentatively working on some really good, amazing things coming up. But I wanted to share with you something that I think is so important with relationships. We want them a lot, don't we? We love love. We want to be in love. We want to feel love. We want to be appreciated. And we want to enjoy love while we enjoy life. But sometimes things get a little complicated, should we say. Not only complicated, but they get a little iffy. They can get complicated. They can get stressful. They can be all over the place. And you're trying to figure out what is going on. Why am I feeling like something is off? I don't understand this. Well, come on in and I'm going to share with you why. Hey, I see you. Dog Ham Productions and Joe, I see you. Hello, good evening, guys. Please tell me where you're from. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. We're going to talk about some things. Okay? So don't rush out, because hey Melissa, if you have had your share of relationships, listen, I get it. It's not going too good, then this is the night for you. Come on in. Hey, Melissa, I didn't know you're from Florida. Joe, Ireland, welcome. So glad you are here, guys. Share, and make sure to hit the notification bell. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'm so glad you guys are here. So listen, if you haven't been up to date, don't worry about it, because I'm bringing you up to date. We're not going to be on here all night. But I am going to share with you some stuff about love affairs. I know you guys like love, right? Let me know you love love. Okay, as long as we got that together. I need to know you're here for the right reason. We're going to talk about something that I think is vitally important, and a lot of times we're not discussing it. Happy throwback, Melissa. Yes, honey, yes. It is Throwback Thursday, babe. It is. So listen, we are going to talk tonight about love affairs. And I love the high fives, baby. I love it. Listen, we are going to talk about some really crazy things. Joe, you'll have to fill us in on what your amazing news was. So check this out. Some crazy things has happened in love affairs. Let me tell you what it is. When we get in love, we have a tendency to feel like it's going to be perfect. It's going to flow. It's going to click like lightning and we're going to have all this wonderful time together, right? We think that. Never goes that way. Unfortunately, I feel like, and I had said this yesterday, is that we were thrown in this pool of love without a life jacket. Nobody told us how to swim. They certainly didn't tell us how to deal when the currents go up or when the how to float. We didn't know anything when it came to love affairs. We're just thrown out here to figure it out as we go. And it's not easy, as we know. It's very difficult, and we're trying to figure things out. So I want to talk about something because I created what I call a soul eclipse. So, okay, Melissa, I can't swim. So I'm coming from a space of, listen, I don't know anything about swimming, honey. I've tried, but I've almost died calling myself trying to swim. Is it a brown girl thing? It might be, but listen, I don't do well. So I keep my behind on the land, okay? But anyway, in all honesty, I brought up the swimming thing because I feel like we've just been thrown into love and we don't know what we're doing. Listen, now if you guys want to be honest with me, when you found somebody that you vibe with, you're cool with, you enjoy being in their time with, and you enjoy sharing yours with them, you realize, like I do, we'll have a wonderful time. We'll enjoy each other, they'll enjoy us, and then the next thing we know, we're in a relationship, right? And I always say, once we label it, we are together now, or we label it, it's you and me, and we are now engaged, or we're married, or we're living together, we're one on one, it's me and you now. We end up putting all of that free love into a pressure cooker. So we're putting it in a pressure cooker, trying to make it define the way we want it to define, and then we want it to be what we say it is. We want it to be this, and we want it to be that. Well, congratulations, Melissa, you're at the right spot. Because being engaged is wonderful, but we don't pay attention to the word engaged. Engaged meaning I'm engaging with you and we're learning each other, but out the box, we haven't been taught nothing. We haven't been taught nothing. My name is Coach Carla Nicole. Um, who said, Patrick, you said no marriage over 40. Hilarious. Well, some of us have had marriage up to 40, but you're probably right. But anyway, I'm 50-licious, so I'm just, I'm enjoying life and all of that. I'm kind of out of the realm of marriage, but I do a lot of coaching with clients that are married, or they're wanting to be married, or they love it. So check this out. So I created a actual relationship insight called SoulEclipse. So inside the SoulEclipse, a lot of times we've been thrown into love affairs and we don't know what we're doing. But I wanted to put you up on game. When you guys go through a soul eclipse and the phase comes in of darkness, you don't have to assume it's over. Sometimes it's just going through a daunting phase. That is what I titled this, Daunting Phase Explained. Why are we in this phase with each other? Why are we feeling like we can't seem to connect? Or we're connected, but we're physically in the same house or in the same room, but we're not connected as far as mindset. We can't get it together. We're not even really talking, but we're walking around like this big fat elephant in the middle of the room. We're walking around the elephant. We're going to act like it's not here and just avoid that we're not talking. We're being. I want you guys to understand that that's normal. Don't automatically assume when you go through your soul eclipse in your love affairs that it's over, it's done, we're not getting along. So because we don't get along, we're not together now, and this relationship is almost at brink's end. It doesn't always mean that. But what it does mean is that there's some things in the relationship that needs to be addressed. So we can't keep avoiding what we don't want to acknowledge. Yes, Patrick, people do change, and yes, they do part and grow apart. However, sometimes when we're growing, it's not necessarily that we're growing apart. But sometimes one is growing and evolving into someone we don't know. So if we don't know, we can't recognize. If we can't recognize, they're unfamiliar. If they're unfamiliar, we don't understand. So now we just, oh, forget it. I don't have time for this. I don't know what you're doing. I don't have time for this. I got to move on. But I want to give you guys something to help you, because in the 50-licious and 50 and up and 60 plus or whatever, we aren't so soul driven on marriage. We're more into connection, partnerships, vibing together and enjoying each other. So we're not hell bent on marriage as much. So I want to speak to you guys too, because you guys are not foreign or different or anything like that. It's just that we evolved out of the marriage per se. It's not a bad thing. It's just that we've changed. Again, we've grown, like Patrick said. We've grown into a different version of ourselves. So because of that, we're at the point now where we're looking and we're like, well, if we're in this relationship, it's fine. But now I want to learn, how do I create a understanding where when they do grow, we can now still respond and be in the connection and still feel like we're seen. This is where the solar eclipse gets funny. We have a phase called the daunting phase, and I wouldn't say it's the worst phase, but it's the phase that is going to put the most pressure on what needs to be addressed. And so in the daunting phase that you're going through and you're growing through, or growing apart, as Patrick says, in that particular phase, we find out like, oh my God, what do I do now? Because you're not talking. You're not understanding. So sometimes we're avoiding each other. Sometimes we're in the same space and we're not feeling connected. And so when we don't feel connection, we start to lose hope. And when we lose hope, we start to get really ruffled under the feathers and we start to make decisions. So here's what I want you to do. Everybody that I coach, that's on my channel knows, I'm going to give you and gift you something you can use tonight. As soon as you get off of this show, you're going to be able to be like, hey, she gave me something I can use right now, tonight, not tomorrow, not next week, tonight. So check this out. I want you to think about something. When your relationship starts to get in that pressure cooker and you're not feeling like you guys are relating, rather than starting to make decisions in the eclipse, because that's what it is, I want you to imagine your relationship is in a soul eclipse. Now, imagine your relationship as a moon. We have seen moons where they've been full, beautiful, bright. You feel like you can, when you're driving, you see this full moon, you can just stick your hand out and touch it. Sometimes our relationships are so beautiful and bright, but when that solar eclipse comes, it's not so bright. It's not so bright. It's actually, it's got a gloom, it's got a darkness, and we're really not meeting between each other, understanding. So check this out. I want you to think about something, and this is hard to do, very hard to do, but because I do energy body work and I also include people on understanding self and understanding the soul, rather than when it gets funny, when she starts getting attitudes, or when he starts feeling different, or when you don't feel like he can relate, or we're just not getting along, rather than immediately going into, I'm going to make a decision about what we are, stop, pause, take a break, and allow your whole heart and mind to just wait. I know that's hard to do. I know. But be honest with you. Right now, as an example, I don't feel like I'm connected to you. I feel like when I'm talking to you, you're here physically, but you're not here in the mind. So I'm doing a lot of repeating to you. I'm talking to you over and over. Excuse me, a piece of hair in my mouth. I'm talking to you over and over and over again, and you're not listening to me. And when you're not listening, I feel unheard. I feel like you don't see me. And because I don't feel like you see me, I'm taking it personal. So when you're going through this and you're growing through an eclipse, I want you to not, I know it's hard not to make a decision or a finite decision in an eclipse, but I want you to think about something. You're not you're not in a good space in the soul right now to try to determine if this love affair is really over or if it's in a phase, in an eclipse, in a darkness, in a space and time where I don't know. Allow it. We have a tendency because of social media and comparing our love to someone else or being around and seeing other love affairs that look like they flow all the time. And they don't seem to have eclipse. I haven't seen this family have an eclipse, and we go on and on. I know. But every relationship has them. Just how they handle it is different. So I created the soul eclipse, and I'm explaining to you about the daunting phase because this is the phase that is the most impactful for what goes on in the harmony and the flow of the love affair. So you had a good point, Patrick. You said so many variables. People get sick, people lose jobs, people have kids or can't have kids. Good point. So I'm glad you brought that up. You are so right. Everything you shared here is absolutely correct. And in those different scenarios, we can't make decisions on if the relationship is solid now or not. We have to wait a minute and allow ourselves to, first of all, be aware that we're in an eclipse first. And there are signs to learning, and I'm going to be going live. I'm just trying to see when people are here and engaged and what the perfect time is for you guys, because I really want to help you guys to understand that the solar eclipse is very important to understand and learn the relationship styles so you can learn what phase you're in. We're all going through our own phase solely. So we have our own autonomy soul eclipse, and then we have in our love affair a soul eclipse. So in those eclipses, when it comes across and it goes in the darkness, it's not the time to make a decision if we are a good fit or not, if we should remain in this marriage or not, if you and I are compatible or not. That's not the time. Daunting phase is the time that's going to reflect to you. We're having some disconnect. We're not holding. We're not kissing. We're not talking. We're not even acknowledging like we used to. When I talk to you on the phone, you're just, hey, and real dry. And then we go into, because of our own past experiences, and let's be honest, we bring and drag our old luggage that we had from old past relationships. We drag that stuff into the current love affair. And we remember when old dude or old girl did this to you. You were played on. You were disrespected. You were embarrassed by. You were hurt. All of those things we drag into the new relationship. Hi there. So glad you're here. We drag them into the relationship. And because we drag that in the relationship, we start to become more comfortable with assumptions. So in the quiet, in the panic, in the disappointment, in the frailty, we start to build this case on what we are in the middle of a solar eclipse. This is not the time. No. This is not the time. And I'm going to use me as an example because I love bringing up something to make this more relatable. So when I was in a love affair, he and I were fine, but then we had our moments where he was going through some financial distress. He was going through hurt and pain from past divorce, and just a lot of stuff was going on with him psychologically and hurting, and then he was changing and evolving into his 50s, and a lot of stuff was really going on and very heavy. And I would talk to him, and then it was all this shortness with me, like a short little attitude, or quick to temper. Just short, just like, what is this? Pardon me, sir. what is going on with you? You got a lot going on. And rather than going left to center and meeting him at the anger he was at, now his anger had nothing to do with me. It was just a lot of overbearing weight of life. Like Patrick said above, he mentioned about different scenarios of what we can go through and grow through in our own selves or our lover in their self that causes for the soul eclipse to be very daunting, very saddening, very frustrating. And so he was going through his own solar eclipse, and I'm like, what is all of this? So I got kind of quiet for a while. I didn't do too much talking. And I started to just get silent. And then I was like, you know what? This is not the time for me to be talking to you about what's going on with you. So, in other words, I didn't become confrontational. So I didn't go all in his face. Well, what is this? Every time I talk to you, you seem to have an attitude and all this. I didn't do any of that. I just laid back and brought to my own attention that this is the time that I should be more calm. Don't meet his fire with fire, and then if we do that, we're going to be ablazed. So rather than his fire being heated and angry and over the top, just shut it down and say, this is not the time to talk. So we'll talk later. And then I would just be, rather than meeting his fire with fire, I decided to be more, not what you call catering. Oh, I'm sorry, your baby. I didn't do any of that. But what I did do is say, that's not acceptable. We're not going to have that in this relationship. And so because we are having this, I'm going to give you your space. And in that, by doing that, what I did was I allowed him to self-reflect. Rather than going in his face and saying all this, you didn't, and blah, 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 I decided to relax. And in the relaxing part, it's not easy. Because when we're relaxing on our love affair or on our lover, it's difficult because sometimes we just want the right now. We want that dopamine. We want to know you still care about me. I have abandonment issues and I just want to know you care about me. Oh my God. We go into that uncomfortability of the dysfunctional phase. And so we're wanting answers right now, and this is not the time. So I ended up deciding to dial back. In the dial back, I learned and created this. It is okay to feel like, ooh, am I gonna get caught? Am I safe in the fall of leaving it alone, or am I gonna get left? I mean, what's gonna happen here? Because it's terrifying if you haven't dealt with your own soul abandonment. So I also have on my Patreon, I talk about Zen for Soul Abandon. My Zen for Soul Abandon explains how we have abandonment issues. Even me, all of us who's ever been in a heartbreak has dealt with loss. It could be loss of father, loss of friends, loss of lovers, loss of friendships, any kind of loss, siblings, family. We've had loss in our life. Because of that loss, we have a tendency to be terrified about how do we grow and how do we get okay and feeling uncomfortable when we don't have answers right now in this moment. So I wanted to tell you tonight, if you're feeling discomfort, uncomfortable, if you're feeling like this man just doesn't get it, he's not understanding what I'm saying. When I'm talking to him, it doesn't seem like he's even here. I'm just talking to a man, and this man is just everywhere but where he needs to be, which is in front of me. If you start to feel that, first of all, allow yourself to be okay in your discomfort of that. Number one. Ask yourself, am I feeling this because I'm terrified to lose what we have? Or am I feeling this because it's different and I'm not used to it? Is this a part of my lover that I'm unsure about? I don't know. Because all of us grow and all of us change. So, in our changing and in our growth, we have a tendency to find that there's going to be different ways and variations that we become as we age, as we grow, as we even evolve in our relationships. So, when there's a difference or how we see things going on, we start to realize there's really no reason for me to be terrified to lose. Maybe it's okay to lose at this point. So, I want you to think about that. Pin that in your mind. Start welcoming change. I know that's hard to do. Welcoming change in your love affair. We are so accustomed to being so excited about how we. Give me a second, Patrick. I'll answer that. How is it that when we're in our love affair, how is it that when we're together, I feel like we're good? I feel like we can be okay and not feel like terrified of the sunken feeling we get in the pit of our stomach that we have been left or that we will be left. Good question, Patrick, you had, which is, when is the time to walk off? Well, I'm so glad you asked, because that is something that isn't determined during the daunting phase that I'm talking about right now. You want to invite the change and understand, can I love this lover through the phase? So when your lover starts to get short, evasive, not coming home at a reasonable hour, they seem to be going on and on. I'm going to give you something that I haven't given anybody today, but you're going to be the first one, Patrick. I'm giving this to you. Have a sit down conversation with your love and tell your lover, first of all, tell her that you really care about her. That's first. And let her know that just because things haven't been the greatest at this time, that you really still want to be here in her life. And then explain, but now don't get excited, because you want to tell her this too. In that, express to her that you much would rather have her in your life because she wants to be here versus because she thinks she has to be. And let her go. And what I mean by letting her go, I'm not saying break up with her in that moment, but give her her space. Give her her. You don't even have to ask her, what is your choice? Do you want to be here or not be here? Because we can end up causing for something that is not actually the case just by how we present, allowing them to have the freedom to think about it without you feeling like you're going to be no good. Always remember, you as a human being, there's many people on the planet, so this is not the only person on the planet that can be in your life. But because she's in your life right now, as an example, it's fine, but you want to make sure that she's here because she wants to be, not because she feels she has to be. And this is where, in the daunting phase, you're facing that truth. You would rather, in the daunting phase, not cause it to make major decision, but you're allowing the freedom for her to go and figure it out. Because if you're pretty solid that you want to be with her, that's fine. But you need to know that she's in that same reciprocal energy. Because no one's got it to do where it's only you doing everything and all this work, and you feel unappreciated. So that's my suggestion to you. Give her get out of jail free card. If she feels like, oh, I don't know, and oh my goodness, and what am I going to do? Like, babe, I'm good. If you're here or not, I'm good. What I want you to understand as a man to you is that you're not held hostage here. I'm not going to hold you hostage. I would rather you be with me because you want to be. If you don't, I'm still good. Because I'm still Patrick. I'm still me. I still got it. And see, sometimes we get accustomed to the relationship in the role we're in, and we feel like, I don't know if I want to do this all over again. Well, we evolve. Whether she stays or goes, you're going to evolve into the next version of man you are. So you're not in a position where you have to be in this solar eclipse forever, because the average solar eclipse, it lasts anywhere from 2 to 8 weeks on average. That's not for certain, but usually it's about 2 to 8 weeks, and then you start to see some signs that, okay, it's okay. Problem is, a lot of times we stay way too long, and the eclipse has came and gone, and we're still feeling not connected. Well, that's because we're not giving them the okay that they can go, and that you're okay, and you're willing to let them go and not feel the way about it. They're fine. You're fine. And love them. If she does decide to go, love her exit. Let her go. Because once they see that you got some confidence and you're not in dread or in a drudgery because they're leaving you, they start to be like, well, wait a minute. What do you mean you're just going to be okay? Wait a minute. Because sometimes people get a little comfortable in thinking that, I I'm all they got. So when you let somebody know, no, I'm good regardless. I'm still going to keep, this heart's going to keep beating, whether you're here or not. Then they start to realize, ooh, let me look at this for real. And is it that I'm just going through some stuff? Because as women, I'm going to let you know, Patrick, for cracks and giggles, listen, give me a second. Another great question. So let me tell you something. We as women go through some changes hormonally. Especially if we're going through menopause, or if we had multiple pregnancies, or if we had female issues, or we have health issues and sickness and things of that nature. Sometimes we find ourselves very discomforting to deal with. And then if there's been childhood trauma, a lot of men, you guys don't know that there's childhood trauma that many women don't talk about. They may have been molested as a child, raped, like Daly said, there could be health issues, all kinds of stuff that can come into your relationship, and you'll feel so out of sorts. And you don't know why, but they don't even talk about it, because a lot of times they don't acknowledge that they've even been a victim of anything. So they think they're fine. And over time, a woman can convince herself she's fine. I'm good. I don't need any help. I don't need any counseling. I'm good. I don't need coached. I don't need this. I don't need that. I'm fine. You're not fine. You're not fine. I get it, but you're not fine. So a lot of times women will go through a variation of different seasons, health-wise, hormonally. Sometimes we even go through changes because we are a mom. The demands of life, we're working, we got the demands of work, financial, money situations, and the money's funny, and you and I are back and forth because of the money. All kinds of reasons that it could cause stress in between that love affair. And so that's very common also. Now, as for what do I think about staying for the children? Well, first of all, children are very adaptable. When you are in a love affair and you have children, and you really truly care about each other, there's a way that you can do it if you don't want to depart and create a severed tie in the presence of the children, because you want to keep it harmonious, but you guys are really not what you were. You can do so and co-parent together in the same house, under the same roof. It's not easy, but you can do it to where you just want the children to have some normalcy, or you still want to be hands-on. A lot of fathers, unfortunately, men usually take the hit. I'm not saying all men, because there's a lot of single fathers out here doing a hell of a job. But I'm saying normally the father is the one that actually leaves the home, and then the children don't have that father in the home. And so because of that, a lot of times the children take a hit, because the father's presence is so important, not just for the sons, but the daughters especially. And so staying for children, I have a little bit of a different take on it because I understand what it is like to have a raising in a dual family setup. My mother and father were married, so death did them part. So I know how much that impacted the woman I am today. I know for a fact my morning, every single morning, even when my dad worked midnights, he worked for the FAA for 35 years and he would work all night long, but every morning he would sit with me at 6 in the morning. He and I would have breakfast before I went to school and we would talk. Those talks till this day are my source of truth. I still remember them. He passed in 2022. But let me tell you something. Those talks are so essential for me that for me to say I had me having my father on a temporary basis, it wouldn't have been the same. Would it have been would I have adapted to it? Of course, we all do. But I'm thinking if you can find in your heart and if she can be willing to be more open to working things out, that's always the best thing. But if it's volatile, if it's violent, if it's disrespectful, if it's nasty, if it's just abusive, then no, I don't think you should stay for the children, because when you look at it in that perspective, the children are not benefiting for you two being in the same house because it's absolute madness in there. But if you guys, and if it's cold in there, that also affects children. So, what do I mean by cold? We're not talking, we're not touching, we're very short. We don't have a really good rapport. It's what is this and what is that? Then that's not good either. So, sometimes if I see it, and I usually do analysis for clients, and they know I'll tell them in a minute. Even my own child, she's grown, but I'll tell her this is not good for my grandson and you shouldn't stay in that relationship, and you guys can still co-parent and the child will be just fine, or children. But I always say, depending on the environment that the two of you have in the presence of the children, if it's very cordial and it's decent within the confines of being a family, then I don't have an issue with you staying, even if you're no longer romantically involved, because you two know it's a bigger picture because of the impact of your separation. However, if it's cold, mean, abusive, violent, then no, I don't believe that you should stay for the children. But if you can work it out, then I would always try to come up with a plan to do that. And again, if you need coach, just reach out to me. My phone number is 844-5 Wisdom extension 0, and set up an appointment with me. I do coaching. I help clients all the time, trust me. And we can come up with ways to kind of work through that. But yes, that's my answer. As far as for you, Patrick, that's my answer. I'm kind of on the fence with that, but again, if you can find a way to kind of work it out, then I would definitely want to help you out, if you know what I mean. So again, I'm glad you guys are here. Like I said, the daunting phase doesn't mean it's over. When we lose someone, so why do I bring up loss in the daunting phase? Well, in the daunting phase, there is a time in the phase where you may feel like you're going through a mourning. Mourning meaning, absolutely, Patrick, anytime. Mourning is mourning, mourning like a death. So when you're going through the daunting phase, you could be actually going through mourning with each other. Because who we fall in love with isn't usually who we break up with. It's completely different. So if we think about it, when we marry a man or a woman, that's not the person we divorce at the court. That's not the same person. Is it physically the same person? Of course. But I'm saying as they evolved, as they became, as they, moved on in life with you, they're not the same. So because of that, what do? We try to figure out a way to make things easier, come up with a plan to create a wave of basically being, you know, okay with each other. But that's not always easy. But if we have a certain image in our mind of what we are to each other, and then that changes or evolves completely out to what we're used to, and we really don't see that, I really don't see that that is actually going to change, then we find ourselves in between a rock and a hard place. Because now, how do we come to conclusion on how we become more okay in the new version of you? So the daunting phase helps us to realize that we change to them and they change to us. Now, when we look at this, we never talk about this because it's not often brought up in most cases, that in the movies, we don't talk about people's changes as far as psychologically, in their soul, when they age, when their family dynamic changes, financially, and I can go on and on. When we have these different waves of change, we want to realize that in these different phases of our love affair, there may be a time when there is a death of the version of the person we have come to learn to know. And now we have to figure out, well, this person isn't even the same as when we first started. What do we do then? Do we just let them go and get rid of them? Or do we try to come up with a way to now study their soul? So what I'm working with my clients with right now is called soul studying. And in the soul study with my clients, I sit them down and I ask them certain specific questions about their soul. And learning about their soul is vitally important. I ask them intricate information and questions to ask themselves about the needs of their soul. How do you replenish it? What are you doing? How do you feel? And in the soul studying, I always say, we become more gravitational, more magnetic, and more sensual and more appealing to our lover the more we end up learning about our own personal soul. So when we give ourselves time to learn the new version of you, even from last year you have changed, even from yesterday you are different. So how do you know the current version? How current are you with the understanding of your soul right now? Are you still stuck in the younger version of you? A lot of people, and I hate to bring this up, but I'm going to anyways, a lot of people do cosmetic surgery because they have an issue with aging. They're stuck in the old version of self. So they want this to still resemble the part that was back there in their 20s and 30s or whatever. So when your hair grays, we want to dye it. We want to, I don't want that gray. Oh my God, I don't want the gray. But you're aging. Why not? Embrace it. Why do you not want it? Oh no, God, I never. We have all kinds of stuff we have a issue with. But we'll sit back and say we don't want certain things because we don't want to acknowledge change. We're going to wrinkle. We're going to have different things happen to us as far as physically, but also mentally. And in our physical changes, we try to curtail it, and I don't want to age like that, and I still want to look good and do this and do that, and that's fine. I understand that. So do everything you can to make sure you physically look well. But understand, and I can say this with 100% accuracy, you had nothing to do with what you look like at all. Zero. Nor did your parents. Your parents didn't know what you look like till you got here, and you had nothing to do with what you look like while you're here. Now, that's omitting, of course, cosmetic surgery and all of those things. I'm talking about when you got here, this is what it is. So, as we age, we have a hard time oftentimes aging, embracing the change. Embracing who we are, embracing how we are. If it takes us a little longer to get up, if we have little aches and pains, ooh, I didn't even know. We cough and we have a whole, it seems like a whole chest caved in from a sneeze. You're like, that never happened. Well, you're aging. So this is what it is. So a lot of times we just forget about that part. But it's imperative that we sit down and remember, let me think about what it is versus what we want it to be. I want you guys to remember, the daunting phase doesn't necessarily mean that it's over. The daunting phase means that it's a phase that you are in. While in the phase of the daunting phase, remember, please do remember that in the daunting phase, this means this is now a time that you can no longer ignore it. It is now time to acknowledge it, pay attention to it, and don't make quick decisions or make quick strides or say what it is you want to say. And you want to pause on the eclipse. The reason why people went blind when the real moon eclipse happened is because they were staring at it. They were amazed at how beautiful the eclipse is. Yeah, but you're not supposed to look at it. It'll blind you. So in an eclipse, we want to what? Slow it down. Become more calm. Acknowledge this is a phase. In my acknowledgement of it, I will learn to now embrace it, not get so caught up in what I don't have. Realize that in this, I will be okay. And then if it gets to the point, like what I explained to Patrick, if it gets to a point where you're really questioning, should we stay or should we go? You tell that person, I care about you, I love you in my life. However, you're free to go. If this is not what you want, by all means. And when you allow someone to leave and they stay, well then I guess you know that that person cared. They just didn't know how to express it. They didn't know how to deal. They had some things going on that they maybe couldn't talk about. And unfortunately, a lot of times, like I said, there's been terrible traumas growing up, or loss or sadness or all kinds of tragedies has happened in people's past that they don't talk about, nor do they really even really, if we're honest, even technically even remember a lot of times. And so when they go through their hurt and their pain, and then they go through an eclipse with you, they start realizing, ooh, I got a lot of things on my heart and mind I didn't know. Well, that's true. So in the unknowing, a lot of times we feel so uncertain. And when we feel uncertain, we get so bombarded with rushing. We get hurried energy in our soul and our spirit because we want to make sense of it now. We want to know right now, what is it? Yes, and like Daly says, they hide it. They don't want to acknowledge it. They don't want to say what it is. They want to just hurry it up. They want to just act like it's not there, but that's not good, because in our souls, we want to feel acknowledged and seen. But during a daunting phase, we may not be seen. Matter of fact, that's probably the time when we're not seen, unseen. We're also very misunderstood at that time. So, and now that you know that this is a soul eclipse, and like I said, the eclipse may happen from 2 to 8 weeks, maybe a little shorter or longer, but it's usually about that time frame. When you go through the soul eclipse once, and you learn how to respond, you start to realizing like the next eclipse isn't as long or isn't as bad or isn't as daunting, as, if you will. So you start to realize, well, this isn't as matter of fact, I can't even remember the last eclipse. Well, because eclipses don't happen all the time. They come, yes, but as we learn to practice self-loving and soul studying and studying our lover, we start to realizing, oh, This phase is challenging, but this phase doesn't require for me to be so overwhelmed by what it's not. Now I can embrace what I know it to be, and now I can embrace it being what it is. I'm so glad you guys came. Thank you so much for being here. Please don't forget to share this video, comment, make sure you hit the notification bell that I know you're here. Like I said, I'm going to go live more often. I'm just right now trying to survey what's the best time for you all to be here. So right now I'm trying this time. And it looks like I had a pretty nice group that was very, very engaging. I appreciate everyone talking. That is so awesome. And then again, when I keep doing these, just make sure to show up. Bring your friends. Let your friends know about it. I mean, again, doing coaching is my first love, and I always like to make sure that I am making a difference for you. Because the truth of the matter is, I do this by nature. I do it because I love it. It's not because of any other reason, but I was born for this. This is what I was born to do. I already know. So because of that, I'm just in gratitude that you guys showed up and are here. And like I said, I'm going to keep doing these lives and just showing up for you all. And like I said, just remember, try to hold off making decisions inside a solar eclipse and try to be a little more mindful that you might not get your answers right away. You may not get them at all, but that's okay. There are unsolved mysteries, for real. And it could even be an unsolved one in your love affair. But that doesn't mean it's over. It just means let's just understand it to be unsolved. And if we can move forward, we will. And if not, well, then we have to make adjustments and changes and exit in love. And then if we're going to stay together, well, good. Now we can go to the next phase and learn about that. But right now we're working on the daunting phase so that I can help you to learn how to evolve from it, how to expand from it, and how to be best in it by being less reactive, if you know what I mean. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for being here. It's your coach, Carla Nicole. Have a good night.